Alright, so by now you've probably got a pretty good idea of who you want to target, what you're going to say, and it's just a matter of getting out there and starting those conversations and connecting. Now, the message sequence in and of its own isn't severely complicated, whether it's like the 5 message sequence we have here, or a shorter one or a longer one. It's not really that complex. However, the real money comes into it, and the real complexity starts when you start adding in multiple campaigns, filters, different scripts, and the fact that you could be starting up to 100 conversations a day with different prospects. So the key to really doing this at scale and having a good return on investment for your time that goes into this is a good solid system and process, which is why I wanted to share with you my lead management spreadsheet. So just come in here. All right. So this is where my super nerdy engineering and data analytics background really comes into play. So it's worth mentioning that you can manage these leads with a CRM. However, I found CRMs often have a steep learning curve, are expensive, don't give you that same control and flexibility as a spreadsheet. And plus, most people have dealt with spreadsheets throughout their professional career and have a pretty good idea of what's involved. So let's get started in learning the workflow of a LinkedIn lead gen ninja. Alright, so by this point you probably have a pretty good idea of who you're going to target, having already put together your LinkedIn lead generation scripts. So just as a bit of an example, let's say we were going to target videographers or filmmakers. So the first thing I would do is just put in, I guess, the core keyword that I think would really give me the result that I require finding people on LinkedIn. So I put in videographers and I'm looking for people, so I then click on people. And I start to see a bit of a list of people that I could potentially connect with. Now, depending on who you're targeting and what your offer is, obviously this is going to be different for every single person and different for every single offer. But it's up to you to make that best judgment as to whether this person is going to be someone that you can help or not. And then you would work through this list, and based on the scripts that you've put together, start connecting and customizing the messages for each lead or each prospect that could potentially be someone you could help. Now you might want to refine this a little bit as well. So I've put in videographer, but I can see already that not a lot of people, if any, are even calling themselves that. So I look for a more, I guess, relevant keyword that'll help me create a better list of people who I would like to target. So let's just try video, because I see that keyword being used fairly frequently among them. Video production, freelance video editor, video journalist, freelance video producer. So that list is already starting to look pretty good. Now, LinkedIn gives us a couple more options in terms of filtering, so that we can be a little bit more specific as to who we're looking for and who we want to target. So you can get connections, first, second, or third level connections with people that you know. So the more people you already connect with, the more people you have access to. So in the beginning, it might take a little while before you can generate a fairly decent sized list. You can also filter down on things such as location, companies, past companies, industries, schools, interest, language, and so on. I usually find a good way to create your filters is based around, say, location. Let's say apply. It's a great place to start anyway, somewhere close to home, and somewhere that you probably have already got some good connections. So using your scripts, especially in the beginning when you probably haven't got much in the way of conversations started, take your first message, work through that list of leads that you've generated and just start with connecting with anyone who, like I said, could be someone that you could help, your target or ideal client basically, and just work through connect, connecting with anyone who would be relevant until you've connected with everyone that you possibly can with, basically. And so all you need to do to connect is simply find the person who's relevant to you, click on the connect button, and always be sure to add a note. Don't just use the standard I'd like to add you to my network. Always make sure you've customized it, and just take that first sequence from the messaging scripts and just make sure you customize it for whatever filter or campaign you're running, and change out the name. So I believe I was talking to Casey. Hi Casey, I was browsing through other videographers in and around Brisbane and stumbled across your profile. Hoping to expand my network and connect with more professionals like yourself. Would love to have you in my network. Thanks, Ryan. And we'll send that. Now, in order to manage this, I'm also going to want to check out her profile. Copy that link and add it to the spreadsheet as someone that I have connected with. So in order to say that I've connected with her, I just put in the date that I've actually done it. So I think it's the 10th of Feb 2019. And then you'd put her full name here. You can see that on the tab. So you may also want to add things like her title, company, and position in, but the more you add in, the more time this is going to take. And because you're doing this, in pretty large quantities, it really adds up the more you put in. So, but I've included these fields here in case you wanted to add that in, but certainly by no means feel that you need to. And so on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and hide these for the time being. Okay, just to keep things a little bit tidier. So you probably notice in this column above, I've got things like stop, follow up, lead, and conversation. And so all these columns here have conditional formatting, which means that if I was to put any of those in, it would be formatted in a way that highlights which leads I need to follow up on, which ones are leads, which ones are conversations, and which ones are marked as stop, so we don't want to send any more messages to. So as you invite more people, you can see how this is going to grow and grow and grow. And then you can see how having a system like this is going to be really important in order to manage your leads, your prospects, and know where to focus, i.e. your leads or your follow-ups, and which conversations to come back to and progress as you get further into this. There's also formatting on the conditional formatting on the dates, so that you know once a message has been sent, if it's 2 days have passed, the color will change. So just for an example here, I'll change that to the 6th of Feb 2019. And just give it a little bit of time. It goes a bit slow when I'm doing the screen recording here. But then you can see how it goes blue. So quickly it helps us identify, follow-ups, leads, conversations, and the next lot of messages. It helps us really clearly identify where we need to focus our efforts next. And you can use the filters here to reorganize your lists and bucket your tasks together. So send out all your second messages, all your third messages, all your fourth messages, follow up all your conversations, stops, leads, conversations, and then finally send out as many invitations as you can in that day. Alright, so a couple of final little pointers. A really great little feature of spreadsheets and I guess Google Sheets is if you go right click and insert comment, you can add a lot of information and comments about the specific prospect that you need to follow up on. So you might say, showed interest, said to follow up again in 1 month, just as an example. Leave the comment, and then you see it has the time and date and showed interest, follow up again in a month. So when you come into the spreadsheet and you're going through all your follow-ups or stops, conversations, or whatever, you have notes against each one, and you know at what point it's at and why it's at that point. Lastly, you probably see these connection and lead rate. So that's based on calculations on the spreadsheet, and it's basically saying anytime there's a name in this column, it's assumed you've sent a connection request to that person, and anyone who sent the second message, you can't send a second message unless you've connected with that person. So the connection rate is basically how many second messages divided by how many names, and that's how many people are connecting. Now you want to be getting at least 20%, ideally 20 to 30% connection rate. Anything too much less than that, then you're going to want to consider how spammy you're coming across and whether you're approaching the right market or whether your profile is really, I guess, speaking to your target market as it should. With the lead rate, it's kind of hard to say what your lead rate should be because everyone could sort of classifies leads differently, and different markets, different niches, different customer lifetime values result in a fairly wide range of lead percentages and what actually equals a successful lead rate. But overall, you want to be managing how much time you're putting into this and what you're getting out of it. And you want to be making sure, above everything, that you're starting conversations with the right people and you're developing those conversations into calls and developing those relationships. So I trust that's been helpful. I know this can all seem super overwhelming to begin with, but trust me, just get into LinkedIn, start connecting with people, start sending out messages, start those conversations, and it's all going to start making sense. If you're still having troubles and not sure how to get your processes running smoothly, feel free to get in touch. I'd be more than happy to walk you through the process and help you out.